So I'm going to go over the questions on your functions test, and then if you'll follow the directions that are posted online, you can see how I want you to do your test corrections. So potentially you can earn up to 50 points back, and you also get a grade for submitting this. Okay, so the first one is definitely talking about it gives you a quadratic, and it also gives you a piecewise. So notice the quadratic is labeled F and the piecewise is G. So for number 1, it asked me to find F of 5. So I definitely want to plug it into this equation over here, the red one. And everywhere I see an X, I'm going to replace it with the number 5. And so when I put that in my calculator, that's how I get negative 16. Alright, so for the next one, F of negative 1 again. So I'm replacing the X's with negative 1. Alright, and that's how I get 20. For number 2, I'm replacing the X's with 2x minus 1. So this one might be a little different. So everywhere I see an X, I'm going to do parentheses 2x minus 1. Okay, so with that first one, remember you actually have to write 2x minus 1 twice. And you got to FOIL that. And then you're going to distribute your negative. Okay. So for this next part, I'm going to distribute the 2 to everything. So that's 4, plus 2. And then you have the plus 19. So when I look at here, here, and here, and I get my like terms together, that's how I get negative 4 x squared plus 20. And 4 and 5 are referring to G, so now we're plugging it into this piecewise over here. Okay, so this one says that x is 9. It falls into this category because 9 is greater than 2, so I'm going to replace the x's with 9's. So when I do the top, it gives me 10. When I do the bottom, it gives me 17. That's how I get 10 over 17. For the very last one, it's telling me that x is negative 2. That falls into this category because negative 2 is less than or equal to 2. So I'm going to replace x with negative 2. And when I put that in my calculator, I get 3. So that's how you do number 1. Okay, number 2, the function graph below is translated 5 units to the left and up 4 units. Write an equation to represent the new function. Okay, so we had this function right here. This function actually is an upside down quadratic, and notice that the vertex is not at 0, 0, it's at this point, 4, 3. So that means that this original function had moved to the right 4, so minus, and it had moved up 3. So now we're going to take that one and we're going to move it 5 units to the left. So if we want to go to the left, remember that's when we're going to add 5 plus 3. Here, let me do a different color. So this is the transformation, plus 5. And then if I wanted to go 4 units up, I would add 4 to the very end. So my new equation would look like this. Or I could have graphed the answer choices and seen which one took that original parabola and moved it like it was supposed to be. So you could have done either way and got the right answer. Okay, same thing with this one. The graph below is horizontally stretched by a factor of 3. It's then translated 2 units left, and then we want to write a new equation. So the original would have looked like this. Okay, whenever it says horizontally stretched, that's when you put the number in front of x inside something. And because it was a factor of 3, that's when we do 1/3. If you don't believe me, go back and look at the rules that we went over in a previous lesson. And then when it says translated to the left, that's when you add 2 and you do it to the x inside. Or you could have just graphed this in Desmos and actually seen if it moved this like it was supposed to. Alright. Number 4, a certain function was reflected in the y-axis and then translated 3 units right, 2 units down. the resulting function is this, and we want to know what was the original function. So actually what we want to do is we want to move it 3 units left, 2 units up, and reflect it back over the y-axis. Okay, so if we had this original one, if we want to move it to the left 3 units, we would add 3. If we want to move it up, we would add 2. Alright, and then if we want to reflect it across the y-axis, we would put the negative in front of the x. So that's how I get this. X plus 2 minus 4. Or we could have just grabbed the answer choices and seen and just matched up which one actually did the right thing. Okay, so for this one, describe all transformations from the parent function. Check all that apply. So if you thought this was a multiple choice question and you didn't read the instructions, that's probably why you got it wrong. So right here is my reflection in the x-axis. This is my horizontal compression by 1/4. This plus 2 is my translating to the left. And then that minus 1 is my translating down. So it did have all of them. Alright, so this one says, describe all transformations. Again, check all that apply. So this 1/2 is my compression. The minus 3 is my translated to the right. And my plus 7 is my translating up. It did not reflect over the x-axis, so that's why that one was not chosen. Alright, so this one's pretty easy. All you had to do was match the function to its key features. So really, if you wanted to make it super easy, if you would just look at the x-intercept was 0.820. That's how I knew that A was matched up with number 1. And number 2, you could look at, once again, just the x-intercept, and you could pick out the right answer. Number 3, the same way. The x-intercept wasn't negative 0.5, comma 0. Number 4, you could have looked at the you couldn't do the x-intercept in number 4, but number 4 is the only one that had some jumps and stuff. So number 4 was not continuous. Look at the jumps that it talks about in the problem. So really just process of elimination. You didn't have to know where the domain and range were. You could pick out just one key feature and pick out the right answer. Whoa. And then number 5, it talked about the jumps also, but just look at where it talks about the jumps being at. Alright, so just process of elimination can get you your right answer. Alright, number 8 was one that you actually had to type in an answer, so the answer should have been 248, and so now I'm going to go over that. Okay, so let's do, I'm going to do G in blue and H in red. I don't even care about F because the problem asks for HOG. Remember, the first function is the outside one, the second one is the inside one. So it's literally telling you to take 10 and put it in the G function. So right here, everywhere I see an X, I'm going to replace it with 10. So that's 100 divided by 2, which is 50. And now I'm going to take that answer and plug it into the H function. So everywhere I see an X, I'm going to put 50. And then you can put that in your calculator. And you do get 248. Because it's 2 minus 250, which is negative 248. And the absolute value of negative 248 is positive 248. So that's how you get that answer. Alright, and then this one was just a match the evaluated function. So it wanted f of g, so it's literally saying take the g equation and plug it into the f equation. When you do that, 9 minus x plus 4 to the third power. So that means 9 minus x plus 4 3 times. So this one's pretty challenging. You're going to FOIL 2 at a time. And then I'm going to distribute the next one. So cubed plus 12x squared plus 48x plus 64. And now, because that's a negative, I got to distribute the negative to everything. And my only like terms are 9 and negative 64, so that's how I end up getting that. Okay, so for number 2, it says g of f. So it's telling me to take the f equation and plug it into the g equation. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to write the cube root of x squared minus 5. That goes together. That's being cubed, and then minus 11. So the nice thing is a cube root and a cube cancel each other out. So I'll have x squared minus 5, then minus 11, and negative 5 minus 11 is minus 16. So that's how I got C. 3 says f of g of x. So this time I'm going to take the g equation and plug it into the f equation. Okay. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to write x cubed minus 11. Okay. So the hard part about this one is that you have to FOIL this. Gets a little complicated. So when I FOIL these two, I get x to the 6 minus 22x cubed plus 121 minus 5. And then these are my like terms, which become 116. So that's how I got D. And then for the last one. Alright, the last one says g of f of x. So I'm going to take the f equation and plug it into the g. So 9 minus x cubed plus 4. I only have 2 like terms. So that one was pretty easy, and that's how I got A. So what I did was I put some challenging ones with some easy ones, and then through process of elimination, you should have been able to find the answer, as long as you just didn't quit on me and guess some answer choices. Alright, so follow the instructions, do your test corrections like you're supposed to, turn them in on time, all that good stuff, and you'll get some credit. Thanks.